I record this video for close of trade Tuesday, 26th of February 2013. Well, massive couple of days. Yesterday was 40 points range, kind of top to bottom. Today was pretty big too, but very volatile, kind of jittery activity. Big volumes going through. Yesterday was about 2.7 million contracts traded. Today was about 2.4 million contracts. I think with yesterday's move, the mood in the market, this kind of sudden realization that there is real weakness kind of around, and everything kind of joined in over the last couple of days, and we've temporarily kind of just run out of steam a little bit. Here's the dollar index, so broken above resistance here, but the last couple of days we've had this exhaustion patterns, pro signal kind of coming in, and that could just signal that we'll just kind of consolidate for a little bit. Maybe it's just the moves have kind of reached a little bit of a crescendo, so they just need to kind of stop momentarily. But in terms of where this is going, I mean, all these trend moves have all broken their support resistance lines, so they've got a ways to go before they're over with pullback to end of trends. It just means that I think temporarily we've kind of just exhausted the juice. Here's pound, so pound kind of continued down, but again got these exhaustion patterns kind of coming in, potentially wanting to look for this kind of left shoulder over here. We had the downgrade news over the weekend, but the damage was done kind of well before that. And the euro started to change around yesterday again, with activity over the last couple of days. Just had these exhaustion patterns, and just kind of wary of that. I mean, this shows the strength of the selling kind of from here to here, getting this move going. So I don't think this is kind of ending this, but it does kind of mean that we might just take a day or so and consolidate. Gold. So gold, because it had moved so far, we had exhaustion patterns kind of last week, and so with the activity over the last, particularly today, you can see just the jump back in. But we're below support here. Silver's the same, although the jump wasn't as noticeable on silver. We're in downtrends, so this is just showing that this is kind of just exhausted the move kind of temporarily. So it's pretty low average trade size on the Emini today, kind of middle of the day, and that's kind of why we bounced. I think these are fairly weak bounces on the way back, and again, the gold bugs will be saying this is buying opportunity of a lifetime type stuff, but we're still in downtrends, so not made pullback to end of trends. Yen. Now yen, again, same thing, exhaustion patterns on the left hand side, and I was saying we'd have probably a pretty strong snapback, short covering type rally. With this kind of move, all the trend following kind of systems, hedge funds, whatever, will be massively short, and so any kind of snapback will start to run stops and so on, and could be quite violent. Yesterday was pretty violent in the yen. But anyway, just because we put in this left shoulder here, I'm expecting this to go pull back to end of trend. And then bonds. So bonds, finally, we got that decent move with yesterday's activity. So we were kind of flirting around this resistance point on the bonds, and with today's activity, bang, you can see yesterday's activity, that's jumping the creek. So bonds are kind of getting going. It's funny though, a little bit later, slower into this. Normally the bonds tends to track before equities, but this seems to be a little bit in reverse. Not sure why. Maybe that's sequestration type stuff. Not sure. But anyway, that was jumping the creek, and so we got so we put in quite a lot of effort, kind of bottoming this move. Now we got to kind of get to the upside. And just so let's talk about this left shoulder business. So this is daily chart of the Mini, again a low time frame versus a high time frame. So the 45-minute chart is 2 time frames below the daily chart, and so I'm looking for an end of trend move on the 45-minute chart, syncing up with the cyclical support on end of trend on the daily chart here. Pullback on a daily chart here. And so I've been talking about, we've been hunting for this left shoulder, and so now with this activity over the last few days, we definitely got kind of confirmation that that was the left shoulder up here in the 20s, 22, 24, whatever it was last week. And the bearish divergence kind of patterns kind of came in. Trying to find that is always kind of tricky. But anyway, so with the activity over the last few days, we've got that weakness kind of shown. We kind of sold off, and we sold off pretty hard. In terms of exhaustion type patterns on these daily time frames, we're getting there in terms of being oversold here, and that will be where we're likely to find a pullback level. But we've still got some time to run. These have still got to come closer and join, and what I'm looking for then is a trend move on the way down on the 45-minute chart in order to sync up with that on the daily chart. So that'll be a pullback in an uptrend when we finally get an exhaustion pattern and so on. And so even with today's activity, with the little bounce that we got, I don't think this is over. This is kind of showing the strength of the move initially, and then normally I'm looking for that type of reading in order to end the move. So with yesterday's activity and today's activities, I think we've had pretty extreme. Complex correction on the way down, not a trend move yet because it's not broken the support into a trend move. Still think we're going to go there. If you look at the 40,500 tip bar chart, which is very similar, the two time frames are very similar. The advantage of the tip bar chart is it's smoother, gives you overnight activity as well, and so you can see over the last several days. So this is the move down last week, kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, sell off. So we had our exhaustion pattern here, and this was the strength selling off here, and then we've had equal strength kind of selling down into this move, just like the 45-minute chart. We bounced off a bullish divergence here on a support line, bang, back up, and then with yesterday's activity, this was the 40-point kind of drop from the 20s all the way down. And again, we've got a similar pattern, kind of bullish divergence, kind of come in, blue professional bars at the lows. It's there's no anxiousness to kind of buy this because it's fairly weak. But the question for me is then do we drop below this into a proper trend move on the 40,500 tip bar chart? So, I think all confidence will be lost if we drop through 80s. Over the next couple of days, and the thing could get really interesting and will turn into a trend move on this time frame. So that, for me is the question kind of going forward. Don't know about tomorrow. Is tomorrow's bounce? We get the bounce that we got today. This was, if you go to the 13,500 tip bar chart, just switch this off. This is the beauty. So we're stuck in a little bit of a Rambo to Rambo kind of consolidation, but you can see the low today, 13,500, was pullback to end of trend. The Rambo patterns on this time frame kind of come up, and that shows the amateurs being wrong-footed here. Come back the other way, they're kind of buying the breakout, in the other direction. And then at the end of the day, all these blue professional bars. That's a lot of blue professional bars on the 13,500 chart. Usually you get a few at the end of a day, kind of like this, but this is kind of coming into that. Under 1500 type level, and it's weak, in terms of selling off. And on this time frame, the sell-off was here at this point, kind of showing the strength of the move getting going, and we've not seen a similar reading on the way down. Although we've had pullback to end of trend, we've not had an exhaustion selling signal on a left shoulder. So I think we're still weak, and I still think we've got to shake out some players and kind of continue down. So through today's lows, whether it happens tomorrow or the next day, kind of who knows. And 1500 tip bar chart. So today we had new home sales, consumers confidence, and Mr. Bernanke speaking at 9 in the morning. So very, very tricky trading to start with, because he hadn't said anything until 9 around this jump actually. And so this was just kind of wild activity. Best to kind of stay out. I got long. My first trade was long, but break even because it kind of just reversed and went nowhere after that. Went long again here, but then got out with a 1.5 point loss because it was kind of going the other way. And then a good trade short at 93.50. I think that was getting in here as soon as this started to sell off after we had those blue professional bars kind of coming at the highs there. We were away to the downside, so picked off 4 on the way down here. And then I had a crappy day's trade. We had 40 points of range yesterday, which was just extraordinary. I got 1 point out of that whole debacle. My nicest trade was for 5, and then I gave it all back. Well, 4 points for back on a stop run on a pullback to end of trend. And today's activity was we had a similar type move. Usually the pullback to end of trends are pretty consistent. Signals continuation of a downtrend. And again, similarly on this one here, I was short at 89 coming into this pullback level, and then we did this. This jump back up, and the pullback level gets kind of violated. Eventually it kind of does turn around because we've got the blue professional bar kind of come in here. Yesterday, exactly the same thing can happen on a pullback move, and the move took me out on my stop. Some people talk about the market's like looking for me in particular. My stops they're running. It's like, well, it feels very personal, but it was to the number. It kind of just took me out at 4 points, and then so angry with that just kind of quit for the day. But then to see the rest of the day being 40 points, just kind of sickening. That's why I didn't put a video out yesterday. Went surfing instead and had a good session. But today, so I was kind of anxious to kind of get it back together, and I had a good day. So, but on this move, I got out with a 2-point loss here. Because I didn't want to see the same thing happening all over again, and then re-entered short at 90. So as soon as the weakness kind of came back into the market, kind of rode this thing down. Took out 3 on that, and then got short again at 86 for another 2.5. So I had a good day, but yesterday was pretty poor. And again, just look for these on kind of changes of trend. We know we're hunting for a change of trend when we've got our exhaustion selling on our left shoulder. So there we go. And we know that this is an unstable pattern. You look at Rambo patterns with exhaustion patterns when they happen together. That's the amateurs getting short at this point, and they've kind of all run to this side of the boat, and it will go the other way. When you get those together, Rambo patterns are usually pretty helpful in order to, on the 1500 tip bar chart, show you what the amateurs are doing on this bigger time frame, and particularly when they come with that, just be really wary. Anyway, so that was a good place to kind of get out of a trade, and then so lost 2 on this way, re-entered short up here. On this kind of decent break at 90, and then re-entered again. But the point is, pull back to end of trend. So we've had this on our left shoulder, so we're hunting for our price kind of confirmation now. This goes pull back to dirty end of trend and immediately just slices straight through that support. So that's not going to be any good. We come back again into a pullback to end of trend. This one, blue professional bars, we overshoot the end of trend a fraction. Blue professional bars kind of come in, another exhaustion pattern. There we go, and the thing's away. To the upside for a reversal day, and it's on the button of 11 in the morning, which is, I talk about the window for finding a reversal trade, and we were this was really choppy trade. It was like backwards and forwards and bang bang bang, really violent, and you get that at changes in trend because the smooth stuff happens on the trend moves. These kind of decent breaks down happen pretty swiftly with no retraces. But as soon as it gets kind of choppy like this, the market's just hunting, trying to find that kind of bottoming activity, and then it kind of reverses and goes the other way. So on the upside here, what's interesting over what we've had is quite a lot of weakness. So we had fairly weak exhaustion left pattern up here, bearish divergence up here. They want to go short here. We'll wait and see. With tomorrow's activity, if they're just these are people kind of anxiously getting short too quickly, and actually what we need to see tomorrow, an exhaustion pattern on the upside, and then it'll turn around and kind of head back down, hunt those lows. So it's exciting. We're going places, and I don't personally I don't think we're in terms of this bottom. We've got a few days to run in terms of that support coming on the daily chart. Anyway, there we go. Not sure it's worth tagging any of those trades. This video, because I'm consciously speaking slower, has taken a little longer. Anyway, hope your trading went well over the last couple of days.